Hey guys, welcome to the channel. It's the Fantasy Football Prodigy. And I was looking at my Dynasty roster. I've made it to the championship a few times over the last few years. I've gotten second and third place a handful of times. Haven't been able to get over the hump, and I'm looking at my team and I'm like, is it time to blow it up? Is it time to rebuild? Is it time to sell high on CMC? Get some value while I can? Just blow the whole thing up, trade away Jonathan Taylor, stock up draft picks, get some young wide receivers, see what I can do in the future. And then I thought,
I'm not leaving. I'm not fucking leaving.
that's right, everybody. We are not rebuilding. We're going to run it back one more season, trying to get that elusive Dynasty League of Bros championship. We have been in this league since 2018, and I have 0 championships, despite having one of the, I would say, consistently better teams over that span since its inception. I've gotten second or third probably 3 or 4 times, something like that. I've lost in heartbreaking fashion in the championship. Remember Jarrett Patterson, that championship week? Yeah. Well, I was looking at my team and I'm like, do I blow it up? I had Christian McCaffrey and Jonathan Taylor. DJ Moore, Jaylen Waddle were a couple of my younger receivers, but I have guys like Cortland Sutton, DeAndre Hopkins, getting older, Chris Godwin. He's getting into his upper 20s. I don't really have a standout tight end or quarterback. And I was wondering, do I trade Christian McCaffrey? Try to get younger, rebuild for the future. Some deals I was looking at was maybe something where I was giving away Christian McCaffrey, getting back Garrett Wilson. Another trade that was as good as accepted. It was verbally agreed upon. We discussed it, which, by the way, is the best way to talk about trades rather than just sending offers back and forth. Send a message, just try to talk it out. We verbally kind of settled like, okay, this is something that we'd both be willing to do. I was going to give him Christian McCaffrey and Chris Godwin for Jaden Reed and Devontae Smith. In my head, I'm thinking, okay, I'm then going to take Devontae Smith and Jonathan Taylor, go to this other team. They have CJ Stroud, Tank Dell, Drake London. He has Michael Mayer, who kind of didn't make a lot of noise his rookie year, which a lot of tight ends don't. He has my first round pick next year. So I'm thinking, hey, I can trade for my own pick and then tank the right way. Because another part of this decision, ladies and gentlemen, was that I don't really have any of my own draft picks. I've traded those away trying to win the championship. And it's kind of hard to tank when you don't have your own picks. But at the last second, I looked at another team in the league. It was FK Dynasty. This is his team now after the trade. And he's been a contender. This is actually the team that played Jarrett Patterson and beat me in the championship however many years ago that was now. But he's getting older. His team's getting a little older. He's got Derrick Henry, Nick Chubb, Aaron Jones, Mike Evans. He had Tyreek Hill. He had Alvin Kamara. And I texted him like, yo, are you trying to run it back or are you rebuilding? He's like, I feel like I should rebuild, but I just can't find any buyers. And I said, hey, look no further. I'm a buyer. We talk things out and we get a trade done. And here it is. We'll take a quick look at this here. I end up getting Tyreek Hill, the Tyreek Hill, Alvin Kamara, and Roschon Johnson, okay? Tyreek Hill, wide receiver of the Miami Dolphins. Alvin Kamara, running back of the New Orleans Saints. Roschon Johnson, running back of the Chicago Bears. What do I give up? I give up Jaylen Waddle, also wide receiver of the Miami Dolphins. Trey Tucker, someone who I picked up off the waivers. I think it was like week 16 last season. Just like a sleeper wide receiver, just very young, someone that I think, might be relevant. And I actually respect this other team for asking to include him in the trade because I didn't put him in there at first, but he wanted him. I'm okay, bet. I'll put him in there. A 2026 first. I don't have any first round picks before that. And then he said he wanted a 4th rounder, so we agreed on the 2025 4th. Jaylen Waddle, I traded for him before last season. I ended up giving away 2 first round picks for Jaylen Waddle. So this is a player who he didn't kind of have that explosive year that I was hoping for last season, but I still think he's a great young player, especially when Tyreek moves on from football. Jaylen Waddle, assuming he stays the wide receiver 1 there, is going to be great for fantasy. Great long-term play by this other team to get Waddle and that draft capital. But I'm running it back one more year. I just couldn't pass up on the prospect of having Tyreek Hill and Christian McCaffrey on the same team. My team just really struggled from a lack of running back depth. I had Christian McCaffrey and Jonathan Taylor, arguably the best running back duo in all of the league. But after that, my next best option was like Miles Sanders, maybe Jamal Williams. I mean, that's just terrible, terrible, right? I was starting, Cortland Sutton, Hopkins was for sure a starter. Now, after this trade, I have a little bit of running back depth. Alvin Kamara is the perfect running back 3. He is getting old for a running back. He's 29, I believe. Yeah, he'll be 29 pretty soon here. But he's the type of running back where, listen, as long as he gets the volume in the passing game for the next year or two, he's going to be just fine as my running back 3. His efficiency has definitely gone down since the Drew Brees years because obviously no Drew Brees, no, not as much scoring opportunities, and just aging in general. But someone that I definitely, as a contender, am willing to buy for, even though he's an aging running back, you don't typically want to do that in Dynasty. It was just something that made sense for me. And then Tyreek Hill, he was, him and CeeDee Lamb were the best wide receivers in fantasy last year. Tyreek Hill just has that elite week winning upside. And then I was able to also get Roschon Johnson of the Bears, kind of like a sneaky throw in, but I don't think Deontay Foreman is going to be there. And the only guy ahead of him on the depth chart really is Khalil Herbert. So maybe they'll bring someone in, but if they don't, would not shock me if Roschon Johnson becomes the lead back for the Chicago Bears. So the way my team is standing now, McCaffrey, JT, and Alvin Kamara at running back, I will take that. Roschon, Miles Sanders, guys like that as my, 4th and 5th running back. I feel a lot more comfortable with that than them being my 3rd. Also, Jamal Williams now serves as a bit of a handcuff. I know they have Kendre Miller as well, but just kind of, makes him a little more valuable for my own personal dynasty team. Tyreek Hill, DJ Moore, both have big game potential, especially Tyreek. Chris Godwin is a wide receiver 3. I love that. He started the year slow last year, but he kind of put it together near the end, further removed from that. I believe it was a knee injury. I think Godwin is going to be great over the next few years as a wide receiver 3 or 4. And then, in that other flex spot, this is a 3 wide receiver league, 1 quarterback, 2 running back, 2 flex, tight end, and a defense. Just cycling between, Hopkins, maybe Roschon gets in there, Cortland Sutton, maybe Zay Jones gets back to a little bit of relevance. I have Mike Williams. I'm hoping to trade him to the Justin Herbert manager or something coming off of that knee injury just because of his kind of prototype, the archetype player he is. I could see him struggling to come back from that injury, and he's, is he 30 yet? He's 29. He's going to be 30. So I guess and I have Mingo and Wilson kind of on the taxi squad. Just hopefully they can step up and do something. But man, my biggest holes on this team right now are definitely tight end. I got Dallas Goedert. I did trade George Kittle and a first sometime a couple seasons ago for Kyle Pitts. That definitely did not work out for me yet, especially as a contender. I was hoping Pitts would be able to kind of replace that production that I lost with Kittle, but he really hasn't done that at all. And since I traded Kittle, he's been kind of on a tear. And then Dallas Goedert had a down year. I'm hoping the Eagles offense in general can kind of fix things, get it back together. But hey, man, if I got to trade for a tight end midseason, I'll do it. I'm locked in to competing one more year. I also really don't have that standout option at quarterback between Tua and Trevor Lawrence. Hopefully, Tua can get a little bit more consistent. Hopefully, Trevor Lawrence can step up, maybe use his mobility a little bit. But it's hard to compete against some of those higher-end quarterbacks. You have Josh Allen with the rushing upside as well as the passing game. Same with Jalen Hurts. Those guys are just kind of a cheat code. The team that won the league this most recent season does have Josh Allen. And then, you have those kind of pocket passing like Justin Herbert, Joe Burrow, Patrick Mahomes type players who, when they're having their, high touchdown seasons, they don't do it on the ground, but when they have that high outlier touchdown year, they're going to be a difference maker. And then even a guy like Anthony Richardson, who we saw just a little bit of last season, if he comes in and stays healthy, he's going to use his legs a lot and be a difference maker at quarterback. So that's another thing I might have to address. But right now, we're just doing one thing at a time, and this was the first step into, honestly, dominating. I was 99% of the way to committing to the rebuild, but you just got to look at your team. And I'm just amped right now. Like, I knew I was a few pieces away from competing, and this is the exact type of trade I needed to keep me in it for one more year. We're going to make another run. Currently, I am also trying to acquire Elijah Mitchell. And I also wanted Darius Slayton as well, just as a depth wide receiver. I don't know if this is going to be enough to get it done. Only a 4th-round pick this year, Dortch and Jaylen Guyton. But if it is, great. I don't know how he values Elijah Mitchell as a handcuff, as a backup running back, but I would be willing to offer a little bit more. So we'll see how that goes. Trying to lock down that handcuff to CMC. And redraft, I wouldn't always recommend handcuffing, but in Dynasty with these huge rosters, impossible to find any production on the waiver wire pretty much. It's not a bad idea to handcuff, especially when I don't have insane running back depth as it is. So this is kind of another strategy I'm trying to employ here, especially because this team right here, completely rebuilding, traded away every really usable asset on his team. So, I feel like if he's willing to give up Elijah Mitchell or, Darius Slayton, a DJ Chark, someone like that, just to throw on the bench for some late draft pick, just so we can, draft kind of like a younger player. Maybe I'll throw in like a young receiver or something, like a really just a sleeper type of guy. Maybe I would do that. But yeah, man, this team is looking good. I literally just executed this trade. Up until like an hour ago, I was committed to the rebuild. Then I talked to this guy, got Tyreek, got Kamara. We're back in it. Let me know what you think about the trade. Here is the trade one more time. Yeah, listen, in Dynasty, a lot of people like to think about playing for the future. But at the same time, when you have a window, you have to try to seize that opportunity. What happened last year isn't always going to happen this year. I could go on a spiel about what happened last year, not in my favor. Some things did go in my favor as well. I when McCaffrey was going through those injuries, I traded a 1st-round pick and Jerry Jeudy for McCaffrey. That has worked out in my favor. Some bad trades I've made over the years, I traded away Deebo Samuel before his breakout for Chase Claypool. Straight up. Chase Claypool is nothing. Deebo Samuel, if I would have had him, I'd probably have won at least one championship. I traded away James Conner for James Robinson and a 4th. I just cut James Robinson as a part of this trade. Since that deal, James Robinson has done nothing, and James Conner, even though he's 28 going on 29, he's been great for fantasy, especially in the playoffs the last couple of years. So if I still had him, I'd have a championship or two. So just given the bitter taste in my mouth of those trades that I made that have kind of kept me from winning, I really wanted to try to run it back one more year. So this is the team. Let me know what you think. And this is the trade right here. Boom. Comment down below what you think. Let me know if you got any trade questions in the comments. And I just want to leave this off by saying, if you have not played a Dynasty League or you're thinking about doing it, I would highly suggest it. It's a lot of fun. You get a lot of great moments like this. I'm amped up, and we're going to run it back, baby. Let's go. Make sure to subscribe, and I'll see you later.